On My Block Season 4 ending explained. The time has come to say goodbye to our favorite crew. The series finale of On My Block has finally premiered, and as much as we would love to continue watching the Core 4, it's only imperative that we say our goodbyes as they go their separate ways thanks to college and adulting. Things are changing in Free Ridge, but that doesn't mean our fave show can't go out with a bang. So what exactly went down in the season finale? Don't forget to watch today's video to the very end as we bring you On My Block Season 4 ending explained. Today, we're bringing you the ultimate breakdown of the On My Block Season 4 finale as the series ends with a bang. Netflix confirmed that On My Block would return for a fourth and final season on January 29 of this year. Season 4 of On My Block is the final season for Monse, Ruby, Jamal, Cesar, Jasmine, and the rest of our favorite group. Netflix has subsequently announced that they are developing an On My Block spin-off called Free Ridge, which will feature a whole new Core 4. It's time to say our final goodbyes to our favorites. The series finale of On My Block has arrived, and as much as we'd like to keep following the Core 4, it's only right that we say our goodbyes as they head off to college and adulthood. Things are changing in Free Ridge, but that doesn't mean we can't send our favorite program out on a high note. So what happens at the end of the series? As the series comes to a conclusion, here is the ultimate breakdown of the On My Block Season 4 finale. Taking a look at On My Block's ending. Our Core 4 may have graduation looming, but they still have a major high school rite of passage left: prom. Monse, still upset and heartbroken that Cesar said no to her promposal, decides to finally read her mom's book. After being consumed with it for days and finding out more about the woman who originally left her all those years ago, she meets with her dad and Brian to reveal what she learned and say she wants them all to be a family again, which they accept. Meanwhile, Jamal, still believing that someone is coming after him, installs cameras in his room as he simultaneously tries to settle on a prom date before choosing popular girl Charlize. Seeing a gnome on his windowsill, Jamal goes outside to discover Chivo. He notes that despite the fact that Jamal found him outside, Chivo is not the one who has been following him around, and the reason he is actually there is because Spooky Gnomi wants to be with him instead. Jamal refuses, saying that he doesn't want a ghost with him, and he walks away. The night of prom, Monse decides to go last minute after her father tells her that she doesn't need a date to have fun. Ruby has an emergency after he gets his eyebrows waxed, which causes him to fully panic, but he ultimately leaves. As Cesar gets ready at home, he sees Oscar's spirit in a mirror and he reminds him how to tie a tie. Cesar tearfully tells him that he's going to be somebody and make him proud, while Oscar responds back that he already has. When he turns around to face him, he sees Spooky Nomi instead and smiles. Jamal visits Abuelita and says he's still waiting to figure out what he wants to do next in his life. And Abuelita tells him that it'll find him at the right time, just like the way you found me. You and your crazy schemes have given me a reason to live, to keep me fighting in the face of death. So, how did prom really go? After arriving at prom, Ruby, Jasmine, and Monse finally find out that Jamal's big prom theme is Illuminati nights, much to their annoyance. The couples hit up the dance floor and Jamal realizes that while Charlize is hot, she's really not that into him. Monse sits by herself after she notices that everyone is dancing the night away with their dates. In the bathroom, while Jasmine is trying to cheer Monse up by telling her to live her best life, Jasmine tells Monse that she should forget the stupid bitch that stole Cesar. Vero surprisingly walks in and asks around for a tampon. Monse decides to take the high road and gives her one, and they both put everything behind them. Soon, Ruby is named prom king and the entire crew celebrates the big news. About someone stalking Jamal. Jamal notices that Juanita is on the table and she tells him to head outside. However, on his way out, he also notices Kendra staring at him. He goes outside but instead sees the car that's been following him all this time. It's revealed that Noel Aroma, a Fortune 500 tech billionaire, has been keeping tabs on him thanks to Kendra, who works for him as an intern. Noel gives him a job after high school and Jamal accepts. Monse and Cesar almost dance during one of the last slow songs of the night, but Vera comes in before they can start. Outside, they reconnect and Cesar notes that he sees a future for the first time in his life and he hopes that she is there with him too. Aww. After prom, they all head back to Ruby's house where they discover that Abuelita died. Everyone reunites one last time at her memorial party where they smoke weed and drink tequila in her honor. The crew see a new group of kids peek into the yard the same way they did in the beginning of Season 1, and they talk about what's next. Monse reveals she plans to take a year off to write a memoir about their adventures, while Cesar is about to head to Portland to help raise his new niece. Ruby reveals Abuelita left them a final gift, a map. They begin jokingly arguing like they did back during their roller world days as they figure out who will be the leader this time, and the screen fades to black. Let's talk a little more about Monse. In the final episode of Season 4, Cesar had rejected Monse's proposal and she is heartbroken. She then decides to read her mother's book and, afterwards, tells her dad and her stepdad that she wants to be a family with both of them. Monse decides to go to prom alone. While there, though, Cesar talks to her and reveals that he sees a future with her. In other words, while they don't end up together at the end of the show, it's hinted that they could do so long-term. In the final scene, Monse reveals that she's going to take a year off after high school to write memoirs about their wild adventures. And something about Cesar. Cesar's journey in On My Block Season 4 all centers around the death of his brother Spooky, Oscar. In the wake of his murder, he officially leaves Los Santos for good and ends his life of crime. While getting ready to go to prom, he sees a vision of Spooky in the mirror and tells him that he is going to be somebody. The season ends with him patching things up with Monse and revealing that he is moving to Portland to help his sister-in-law raise his niece. Let's not forget Ruby. Ruby and Jasmine split during On My Block Season 4. However, by the end of the season, they become friends again and even attend prom together platonically. Ruby is then crowned prom king and the core four return to Ruby's only to learn Abuelita has died while they were away. The season ends with a memorial party in Abuelita's honor where the core four discuss their plans for the future. Ruby reveals that Abuelita left him a map and the core four then begin joking about who will lead their new quest before the screen fades to black. Does Ruby get crowned as the prom king? As the prom season dawns, Ruby is all set yet nervous for prom night and wishes to be the prom king. He proposes to Jasmine, which she declines, thinking she might be bad luck, but later accepts Ruby's confession. Jamal and Ruby become the finalists to be crowned the prom king, but Ruby wins it and later asks Jasmine to dance with him on this victory. Really the end for On My Block? While the Season 4 finale is the last time we'll see this specific core 4 on our screens, we're not saying goodbye to Free Ridge just yet. Netflix confirmed that a brand new spin-off series, Free Ridge, is in the works and will follow another crew in town. We wouldn't be surprised if it's the same group we saw at the very end of the finale, but we'll have to wait a bit longer for official deets. Our final 2 cents. If you ask us, we'd say On the Block went out like it came in. Tender, weird, and on a literal high. So pour one out as we say goodbye to one of the warmest coming-of-age comedies around. For a series as filled with death as it ended up being, Netflix's On My Block couldn't be leaving behind a warmer legacy. With that, we end today's video. Don't forget to join in next time for more of such interesting content.